sort of breaking news, right? Can you put that statement back up on the thing for me? Is that all right? So earlier today, the godfather of the Labour Party, and I'm interested in your opinion because Richard Tice has been quite forced on this. So Tony Blair has attacked Sir Keir Starmer's net zero ideology, or as Richard Tice called it, net stupid zero, and called for a radical reset of the government's green agenda. The former PM said it was wrong that people were being asked to make financial sacrifices and changes to their lifestyle when they know that their impact on global emissions is minimal. Now, that's quite... I mean, I think I'd come on air and go 3 cheers for Tony Blair. You know what I think about net zero. Yes, we can all care. Priorities. Straight away, within an hour, a spokesman for Number 10, this is breaking news, has just told reporters, we will reach net zero in a way that treads lightly on people's lives, not by telling them how to live or behave. Clearly there's going to be a range of views, but we are of the view that this is an enormous economic opportunity, and as the PM has made clear, we're already seeing the benefits. The official highlighted the economic opportunities in the push towards renewables. Our position remains unchanged. This is about the net zero sector growing 3 times faster than the economy as a whole. We're seizing these opportunities to drive growth, lower bills, really, and boost living standards. Now, I am fascinated by what you said to me off air because it is almost exactly what Richard Tice said. He said, this is a smokescreen. The godfather of the Labour Party has come out to lay a bit of ground to give Starmer a free rein at getting rid of Miliband ASAP because he's realised that the British public have got more important things to worry about than net stupid zero right now. I think that's fair enough.
Yes, I discussed this on the way in with an MP, Labour MP, who's very climate focused and who's very despondent and depressed by the Tony Blair story. I hadn't heard Number 10's rebuttal until just now. My view doesn't change that there will be a significant watering down of Labour's climate policies or priorities, and Ed Miliband will be gone in a mini reshuffle or a full reshuffle in the summer. The right of the Labour Party have never wanted net zero.
Right.
I remember Rachel Reeves giving a speech in Brighton in 2021 at Labour conference about was it the 26 billion, and they kept mentioning the amount they would borrow. I just thought it was ridiculous comms at the time. Don't tell people how much it is because people go, well, that's a lot of money, isn't it? We don't want to be borrowing all that. And that same evening there was a anonymous briefing, I'm fairly certain where it came from, and they're working down his street at the moment, is all I'll say without libeling anybody. And they said, this is ridiculous, we shouldn't be borrowing this money. And Ed has always been the one that's had to carry the can. I get on with one of Ed's special advisors quite well, believe it or not. He's one of the cleverer people I know who does actually quite get it. I don't know about all of them. He's very good. And every Friday night he'd settle down for dinner and there would be a phone call from the Sun. And he'd go, right, so you've spoke to Number 10, is he going again this week? Then it was a constant thing. So this has been coming for some time. It's interesting Tony Blair's got involved because Number 10, they might like Tony Blair's input on a personal level, you know, if he wants to influence Keir in some ways. On a policy level, Morgan McSweeney, the Chief of Staff, has absolutely no time for Tony Blair and his institute. He's very much more of a blue Labour man, and Maurice Glassman and the people that are trying to push for a more culturally conservative sort of Labour Party, but sort of still looking at nationalisation and other things, sort of a mix of both. He's got no time for the TBI, so I'll be intrigued of where this will go, but I can't see Ed lasting, unfortunately. It's game over for him.
Unfortunately? The man's a nightmare.
Listen, I can just go off him as a person. He's a nice enough bloke, bit of a geek.
But the truth is, and I know Richard's net stupid zero, and everybody has an opinion, but my opinion would be, for what it's worth, if somebody asked me, nearing 60, do I care about the climate, I would go, absolutely I do. If they said to me that if we achieve this ridiculous target that isn't achievable by 2050 of only 1% emissions when the rest of the world stopped giving a toss, because the rest of the world has gone, we've got other priorities. When you look, and you and I always talk about this, you came from up north, lad. I spent 20 years there. I would love, whatever government is in power, I'm afraid, to look first and foremost at the suffering that's going on in our own country. And I don't think you can sell to people whose backs are against the wall because of COVID, the pandemic, whatever, the cost of living crisis, food prices through. You can't sell to them an ideology that is going to further bankrupt a country that is already on its bleeding knees. And I think that's the point. I think it might be laudable. It might be, I don't happen to think it is, but some people might think it's an honourable policy. It's not going to work right now, and it will be another U-turn. Yeah, Ed Miliband will be fine. fired. And what does that say about Sir Keir Starmer? This was one of the main, you're grinning, one of the main things that he wanted to talk about. I mean, you know, no smashing of the GANs, net zero is going to go backwards, taxes are going up, the IMF say she's got no wiggle room, she's messed up the economy. You're always straight with me on this show. Not a great first year report, is it?
No, but you can see where it's going to go. Keir will do what he needs to do to survive. He's known Ed years and years. I think Ed actually made sure his seat was sorted for him in 2015. Ed will lose his seat and get a peerage. That's totally how it's going to happen. He'll take his medicine this summer and be told to go out the way, and then he'll go off into the climate world and do stuff like that as Lord Miliband. Next year, Rachel will be the one to go. It doesn't matter how lockstep they are.
You think Rachel Reeves will go?
If it's a choice between him or her, it's going to be her. 2026, we lose Wales and Scotland. Someone's got to carry the can. And what you do is you go, do you know what? We need to break these fiscal rules. We need to really go.
Can I just rewind, though? We've spoken for a couple of years, and I respect you enormously. You know I do. When we were running up to the election, you know, old Jezza would say, I remember 79, these people have got one policy, tax the rich or give pay rises to the unions and print money and we'll be screwed. That was how I was brought up. But even I, at the end of the 14-year debacle of the Tories, was happy to even... I want my government to be successful, but it is extraordinary to think that you, as a former Labour advisor and somebody who advocated a change of government, is sitting here saying, yeah, Ed Miliband and net zero will be gone by the summer. Rachel Reeves will take the can next year when we lose Wales and Scotland. You have one of the biggest majorities ever in British political history. You have to acknowledge they've made a right pig's ear out of this so far, to be fair.
Yeah, and it upsets me. That's why I see the writing on the wall. I'm a pragmatist and I'm a realist.
But you're honest.
So I can sort of go, you know, I think we should do this, and we've got a massive majority and we could transform people's lives, and we've chosen not to. What we've chosen to do under Rachel Reeves is to put through quite obvious inflationary policies by the Nix rise. I think if you're going to give people a raise to the national minimum wage, great. Don't also then put the pressure on business by the increase in national
and don't talk to me about growth if you're screwing every single small and medium-sized business to want to actually not even trade, because that makes money, right?
So this is the problem, and this is where I think, you know, as much as the base is very shallow because there wasn't a great turnout at the last election, as we know, and people were just fed up of the Tories, you're going to miss a great big opportunity. And the way I've always seen it playing out, and I'll be astounded if it goes any other way, is Rachel or Keir will go in 26, and the party has to get itself ready. And actually those on, I would say, the soft left, the sort of pragmatist left rather than the socialist left, someone's got to get somebody ready, because 2026 is the time. It's going to happen, right? You've got to have a Joe Biden-like conversation with Keir Starmer, and you've got to go, Keir, we're so grateful. You know, we had the worst results since the 1930s in 2019. You came in, killed off the left, got all the idiots out as they'll see them. You know, and we thought it'd take 2 elections minimum. We've done it in 1. But if you stay, we're not going to win. We're going to lose the election if you stay in power. And that
you think he would go before the next election?
I think the man is not getting any younger and will be very fed up within 2 years. And also, you could go on your own terms and be considered not in my book, but a Labour hero. You turn the party round. You got the government.
I read a really interesting article at the weekend, and I didn't know you were going down this angle, which is fascinating to me. It said that Morgan McSweeney, and many of the Labour High Command would view Keir Starmer as a man who got an unelectable Labour Party elected, where Streeting was always the person they wanted to put into number 10, and that they, almost identically, Matt, to what you were saying, believe there will be a conversation. I didn't bring it up because people have said to me, Keir Starmer, of course, will survive. But there comes a point, does there not, where, you're right, when the British public go against net zero, Ed Miliband will pay. When the IMF are 9 months saying to your Chancellor, you've got no wiggle room, love, you've said you're not going to raise taxes and you're going to be OK with public services, but actually you've got no wiggle room. You've given 30 billion quid's worth of raises to a couple of unions. You're now going to be faced, I mean, we've got calls left, right and centre overnight from people who are nurses and council workers want to go on strike because they quite rightly want to say, well, that union's got a rise, I want one. That's typical. That is a typical scenario. If you look at the quality on the front bench, then you've got Keir Starmer. Yeah, you're right. I can... Where's Streeting?
seems the only obvious option. Does it solve anything? I don't think so. And actually, you're right in a lot of the analysis. I just don't think it's that deep for most people. I think that it's 3 words, and it's winter fuel allowance. That, for me, was politically toxic. Was basically Margaret Thatcher had the poll tax, right? Tony Blair had the Iraq War. David Cameron had Brexit. Keir Starmer decided 2 months in to have the winter fuel allowance.
Can I kick you after the break? It's fascinating chat. Matt Torbitt with Jeremy Kyle on Talk Drive.